If you've ever cringed when someone uttered the words, "Okay, before we get started, let's whip around the room," and everyone introduces themselves, or perhaps you're the one that's uttered these words and you've observed the same negative impacts. Well, I'm really glad that you're here because this video is for you, because I'm going to share with you the 5 essential ingredients that makes every icebreaker work. When I look around at many of the programs around the world, whether I'm a co-leader or I'm perhaps a participant, it's really clear that people have a real troubled relationship with this word called icebreakers. And in my experience, it's manifest in one of 2 ways. One, there's that eye roll, eye glaze, groan, stepping back experience of people when they hear that word because they've found those experiences in the past to be really, really poor. Or, as a facilitator of groups, there's this understanding, to be fair, a myth, that we need to be placing these things called icebreakers at the start of our program. But here's the kicker. Just the fact that you call it an icebreaker doesn't mean it actually breaks the ice. And in fact, in my experience, maybe it's yours as well, many icebreakers are actually ice makers. And here's why they often don't work. You need to get really profoundly related to the fact that there is a huge gap between what you're calling icebreakers and experiences that actually break the ice. There's a big difference between those two, and I don't have any trouble with the word icebreakers, but I tend to refrain from using it because it often comes with quite a bit of baggage, whether it's the participant or the facilitator involved. So I'm going to share with you now a framework that I have developed that helps me understand what experience will actually break the ice with my group. But first of all, a warning. Bang, bang. I made this up. This is not the truth, but I have to be fair. Over the course of the last 35 years of my career working with thousands of people all over the world, I have applied these 5 criteria or characteristics of experiences to help break the ice really effectively. And so that is why I would like to share that with you. And here's the question. I challenge you to consider how might what I'm about to share with you actually apply to the experiences you right now are calling an icebreaker. Okay, so if you've ever met resistance, it's time to lean in because I want to share with you these 5 key ingredients. Things that you want to have most, if not all of these ingredients in any experience, doesn't matter what you call them, in order to effectively break the ice. And the first one, there is no surprise, is fun. It has to be fun. If you're asking questions like, "Hey, just share with your partner your most embarrassing moment," it ain't working. That is really threatening, which in fact is the second element. But just coming back to number 1, first of all, it's got to be fun. It has to be something that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be laughing. It's not a comedy routine. An icebreaker doesn't have to make people laugh. It often will because it nourishes their soul. That's the key element there. So anything that is playful in its true state, that is a state of mind, it's not an activity, if it's playful, then it's going to be fun and it'll help nourish someone's soul. So keep that in mind. Do your icebreakers evoke fun? Are they fun? Number 2, non-threatening. I already mentioned a question that clearly, for many people, for most of us, is pretty threatening, but it needs to be non-threatening because everything you do that you're classing as an icebreaker must fit in within your groups and your individuals' comfort zone. Comfort zone is about how they're feeling, but it's more about how they can be successful. Everything within their comfort zone they can succeed at on their own. They don't need any leadership or tuition to be able to make it work for them. So if it's threatening them, you're inviting them to step outside their comfort zone, and they're not likely to want to do that, especially at the beginning of your program. So think about it. Am I going to be threatening this group with this question, this activity, this exercise, this task? If it is, pull it back or dispense with it and bring something else in its place. Number 3, again, all of these are equally important, but this is way up there, although it's in the middle of the pack. Highly interactive. The most successful experiences that break the ice have this in common. They are highly interactive. That is the opportunity, the invitation for one or more people to interact. It may not even be saying anything. Often it is. It's about sharing something. But the interaction, just the physical movement around each other or working together, even focused on something else, not on each other, can be a really effective way of breaking the ice. So again, think back to your icebreakers. Are they highly interactive? That will be a good guide as to whether in fact it works or not. Number 4, is it simple? Now when I say simple, it could be quick and it could be easy, but it needs to be simple for your group to digest. If you're taking a minute and a half to describe what you want your group to do, some of them will have checked out after 30 seconds, especially when you're working with young people. So if it's simple, it's going to be quick, but it'll also be easy to consume and to understand what's about to happen. And to that level, some of the most powerful icebreakers, or indeed any group experience, is when you've chunked down the instructions. Don't tell them everything up front that you need them to do. Do the first thing. Okay, find a partner. Okay, now identify who's got the lightest color top. Now that you've done that, this is the question I would invite you to now start with. You could have said that right at the start and then people go find their partners, but they will have forgotten the next thing to do. So chunk it down. That helps it keep it simple as well. The final essential ingredient is what I refer to as success-oriented. Now, what I don't mean by this, when you hear success, particularly in a competitive context, is win-lose. There are lots and lots of different ways in which I invite people to do some ice breaking where there might be a loss or a win or some other way of judging, the success of the activity, but that's not what I'm referring to. The success orientation is about generating energy, warmth, interaction. If you've got every one of the other parts working for you, but people feel too vulnerable, or it's too competitive or too aggressive, they'll step back and there's no energy being generated, then it's probably not working as strongly, as effectively as you would like it to be. So a quick recap. The 5 most essential ingredients. Check this with your own icebreakers. Are they fun? Are they non-threatening, highly interactive, success-oriented, and simple? If they are, my promise to you is 99.9% of the time is that experience will be effective at breaking the ice. No matter what you call it, an icebreaker or not, it will be effective at helping you break the ice. So the kicker is to embrace all of these key ingredients to elevate your ice-breaking experiences. And the best news is at playmeo.com, we have got dozens and dozens of activities. So if you just go straight up here to that little link, it'll take you directly to playmeo.com, where you can start searching through over 530, as I speak right now, activities that will be useful as an icebreaker, energizer, team building, trust building, fun group games, reflection exercise, and so on. You will never be short of another activity idea again. Now, as I said, this was my list, and I'm really interested to know, because it would add to my repertoire, to know in the comments below, what are your key ingredients to making icebreakers work? Maybe you've got a favorite way of doing it, or there's a specific activity, but what are the characteristics? What have you found that when that characteristic is present, it helps your group break the ice? In the comments below, check it out and let me know, because not only are you letting me know, and I will respond to every single comment, but you're also letting the collective wisdom of facilitators, educators, trainers all over the world get a little bit bigger and better because of something that you've shared. So do us all a favor. Do yourself a favor, add a comment below. And if you happen to have liked this video and you've resonated with something, maybe you've learned something, let me know in the comments below what it was. What did you learn in those 5 ingredients that was the most critical for you? And of course, if you've liked the video, like it, click the like button or the thumbs up button, and subscribe if you haven't done that before. There are hundreds of videos available for you in our channel that you can check out. If you happen to still be here, and then also click the bell button. That will then notify you the next time we drop another video. And we tend to do this about once a week. Thank you so much for watching and getting all the way through to the end. I really appreciate it. I trust that you've taken away some great ideas. And for now, I thank you and wish you all the best out there. Have fun.